And so I'm at the beach. I'm just like, I'm alone. I'm surrounded by people, but I'm here by myself. And I went to the water by myself and was like, I feel like an idiot. Like it just was not my jam.
We're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know.
Hey everyone, this is Mike from the Daily Bread podcast comic thing. And today I'm gonna sit here from my couch again as I typically do. And it's fucking sorry, my wire's like in my face. What is going on here? My headset. I've had this headset for like the last, Jesus Christ, I think like 2017 is when I got it. So it's like 5 years. I think it's time to get a new headset. But anyway, I'll just give you all the technical rundown. Today I decided, I was trying to think of a topic of what to talk about. It's weird when you do this because you have to just kind of think in your brain and like have one talking point, and then from there it just expands and does whatever. I wasn't even thinking of doing this, and I was driving around I went to so it's Tuesday. This is where I start going off the rails and going wherever. Mondays are typically my day where I like just don't touch, like I don't go out, I don't touch any like alcohol. I eat really well. I mean, I eat a steak, so some people would, if they're not into meat, they'd probably be like, "Don't fucking eat steak." And by the time I wake up on Tuesday morning, I just feel fucking great. And every Monday I've been working out with this trainer since February, the beginning of February. And I was supposed to start training with him in end of January, but then I got COVID. So I had to like wait until February. And we were trying to figure this out yesterday. I was like, how long has it been? And it's been 5 months. And I'm starting to see some results and things. And I think part of the reason that Monday exists, even though it should be more days than Monday, it should be more Mondays during the week where I'm not doing anything. Like I'm seeing results and it's kind of nice. People are like, hey, you can kind of see something's happening. But I was like, well, we're at the five month marker now, so maybe the 6 month is coming up. Like I always hear and read in Men's Health or just hear whatever assholes on YouTube talking about how they're all fucking healthy. That the 6 month mark is where they start to see things. So I'm seeing that. So the thing that helps Mondays even more is that I have a 3 o'clock session with Brett. He's from Oak Health Institute here in Raleigh. So if you're looking to look for a trainer, he's great. And they're right above Raleigh Raw. So if you're really in Raleigh, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, you're like, what the fuck? So this is all the things on Mondays that help me feel great. So by the time I wake up on Tuesday morning, I feel fucking fantastic because I don't have any poison in my system, except possibly the red meat that people argue. And I made a decision this morning to get up and go to the gym. So I was like, I'll just get up, I'll go do the elliptical for X amount of time, and I'll do like the stretch cage thing that they have there. So I've been going to Planet Fitness as my other part of the health process. It's $10. It's fucking $10 a month. And this isn't a promotion for Planet Fitness because I think I get like 20 listeners per episode. So it's not like they're hiring me. But if you aren't afraid, or not afraid, if you're not intimidated and have somewhat of an idea of what to do at a gym, then it's the most perfect thing. And I started going to a gym. I know again, this is all gonna be over the place, but first time I think I ever went to a gym was when I was living in New Jersey, and I was like 24, I think. Well, I know I would work out with buddies when I was younger, and so I'd go to their house and stuff like that. And I don't know, I would highly recommend if anyone's ever starting from scratch working out, like get a trainer, learn what to do, because it just makes you more comfortable. Working out with friends, they kind of don't know what the fuck they're doing, and then you're trying to it's like a pissing contest, or it was for me, and I would just probably just not lift enough, and I hated it, so I'd stop doing it. And when I was like in my early 20s, I went to a gym. I got a gym membership because I was just gaining weight at turning 21 and just drinking beer, not realizing that beer really has a fucking effect on my body. I see other people that drink beer and it's like fucking water on a hot pan. It just doesn't physically or visually affect them, like body weight or whatever. For me, it just makes me super bloated. It really fucks with me. And it did that from the beginning. So if I look back, before I was 21, I'm super skinny. And when I hit 21, I could start to see I look just bloated all the time. because beer fucks with me. So I started going to a gym, and I went to the gym, and you have all these machines, and you just be overwhelmed, feel intimidated because everyone around you think everyone's looking at you, which pretty much they are. But nowadays, you still do it, but as an adult, you'll like I'll catch myself looking at someone like, what the fuck are they doing? And then internally, as a 43-year-old, I'm like, no, 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 like don't think like that. That's not right. Be more positive. But back then, I just felt so intimidated, and I kind of hated the Globo gyms as they were called as I started doing CrossFit later on in life, which kind of brings to that point that so I do like the gym thing. I had a trainer back then. It was in the fucking gym was it? It was like New York Sports Club, or I think that was it. It was in Hoboken, and I went there and hired a guy for a couple sessions, and he was really nice. It was like around the time where 300 came out, so that whole circuit thing started really blowing up before CrossFit really blew up. And they worked out the guy one time where I almost threw up, and that's not a good thing when you work with a trainer. Like you don't want to be throwing up. Um, I mean, I don't want to be throwing up. I think it's pretty bad if you get to that point, unless you're fucking David Goggins, and he'd say, yeah, you should fucking throw up. You should basically get to the point of death. So when I did that, I started going there with my buddy Phil, who actually was really knowledgeable and was one of my favorite people. And we would just do arms, and we didn't really do a lot of legs. I think we did like leg presses and things. So I didn't really have this good base of learning the shit. And then I started doing CrossFit in 2010 because I was about to get married and I wanted to lose weight, and so did my ex at the time. And she did really great with it. She's athletic, and so I mean, it took to her. She had like um, the, the the band T-band or some shit on your knee. It was like super fucked up, and she did a whole summer of physical therapy and went for a run, and it just didn't work. The moment she started doing CrossFit, it went away. So I think CrossFit done in the right way is very works really well for a lot of people, but then you just hit this wall because you're eating more and stuff, whatever. I mean, it's different for everybody. So, but I liked it in the beginning. Did it for about 10 years on and off, and I hated the whole. I thought Planet Fitnesses were so stupid because you couldn't drop weights, you couldn't do like a WOD or workout of the day, is what they call in CrossFit. And now that I invested in a personal trainer, which is a lot of fucking money. I mean, it's not like million, obviously not millions of dollars, but like it's not. It's like this perfect balance where I don't really spend my money on a lot of things. It's that I'm like, I like this investment. So I do upper body with him on Monday and then legs on Friday. So in between, I have to do something. He's like, you should I want you doing at least a day or two of cardio in between and maybe some other arm stuff. So I got the Planet Fitness thing, and this sounds like a huge commercial for Planet Fitness, which I mean, the one that I go to, I really like. And but it's like $10. So it's very long. This is like fucking 8 minutes to get back to this point. But I woke up this morning and said, okay, I'll go do the elliptical for X amount of time because I pay the $10 a month. So I just did that. And when I got on the machine, and I'll do like 2 minutes of just slow, and then I do these intervals where it's like 15 seconds on, 20 seconds off, or it's like 15 seconds just high speed, 20 seconds of chill. And that's what my trainer had told me to do. I should probably advance from now and probably be doing like 20 and 20 or like 20 and 15 and reverse it. I just did not, I just mentally wasn't ready. So as I'm doing it, I'm like I did the first, as soon as 2 minutes starts, I kick it in, and my body's just like, no, like my heart was racing. I was like out of breath. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I just wasn't really feeling it. But I was like, just push through. Just do the time you said you're going to do. And by the time I got to the 10-minute marker, it finally starts kicking in, and I was like, all right, here it is. And so by the time I was done, it just felt great, and went over, and there's like this stretching cage where it's like built out weird, so you can put your leg up into like hamstring stretches and then arm stretches and all this crazy stuff. And I really like that part. So this morning I woke up, and I haven't done my 5-minute journal in a while. And I was like, I literally, I think the last time I did this was my birthday, and it was my birthday back in May 12th, and that was the last time I did it. So I just wrote down. It starts off with three things you're grateful for, three things that'll happen today that are great, and then, I am, and you kind of write like who you are, who you believe you are. And I wrote like three things will happen, three great things. Oh my God, I'm fucking this up. Three things that'll happen today that'll be great, whatever. So I wrote stretching in the cage thing after the elliptical. So it's like I always like doing that because it's got to be very specific, and it's something when your brain really creates really releases that dopamine. So like you put that positive energy out. And I was looking forward to that. So when I was on the elliptical, I was like, okay, the thing I'm working to here, besides the cardio and all that, is I'm going to go and stretch out on this thing that I really like, which is I'm only there for maybe 5 minutes or so. And as I'm doing it, I like cranking music, and I have this playlist on Spotify called Ham. It's like hard as a motherfucker. It's like an old term my buddies used to say. I'm sure it's like a big thing that's said out there. So I'm listening to like just fucking metal, and I finish and I put a podcast on, and there's this podcast called The First Ever Podcast with this guy from Touche Amore, and he's the host. He's interviewing Bob Nana and from Braid. So I'm listening to the end of that because I've been listening to it all over the last couple of days. And I was like, it's a Tuesday. I'm feeling really good. Let me just listen to this podcast, and I just kind of zoned out. I'm stretching, just feel awesome. And that one had finished, and I went and got a coffee, went into Trader Joe's, got some healthier food. I was like, man, I'm on this really good kick. And this kind of leads to, I know I'm going to name this episode Vacay because I'm talking about my vacation that I did last week or 2 weeks ago. But I'm just going to stick with where I am, and, you're listening, so fuck it. Hopefully I'm saying something interesting. And so I went and Trader Joe's, got some stuff. I went and got coffee, which is my favorite thing in the morning. Just get up, take my Jeep out because it's beautiful down here, and just tops off. I got this new soft top, so I have no top on my Jeep, and just driving to get coffee. It's like my favorite way to just dick around before I can start my day. So I'm driving back from the gym, stop and get coffee, and I'm looking through because the one podcast ends, so I find the next one, and it's Tim Ferriss, and he's interviewing Bill Burr, which is an episode that he did on his TV show called Fearless in 2016, and it was a video, or I mean, it's a TV show, so it's that episode, but then they turned it into audio. And I'm listening to it, and I absolutely love Bill Burr. I think he is one of the funniest. I think he is like one of the top comedians of today. And I think some people out there who are, I guess, super sensitive about shit would not like him because he's being honest, and he's just speaking as this guy who grew up in Massachusetts with this old school mentality, but he's very aware of what he says, and he's like, I'm just making jokes, and people nowadays are so fucking sensitive, and I just can't stand it. So to me, it's refreshing that he just has the fucking balls to say whatever he's saying. And this is 2016, so this is 6 years ago before shit really started getting more like just boxed into how you're supposed to fucking act on this goddamn planet. And I forgot that when I started this podcast, the thing that literally triggered me to do it, and I think if I listen to episode 1, it talks about it, is that he would just sit down and he just sits down and talks. And I forgot about that. And with this podcast, I really, like, I did it for pretty much a solid year straight with a couple days off here and there. And I didn't finish the year. I think it was a couple weeks prior, or a month prior, I bounced on it for whatever reason. And I always come back to like, I should just keep doing this because, I mean, he's been doing it for over a decade, even, yeah, I think even longer. I mean, over a decade, so general, that could be 100 years, because technically that's over a decade. But he's doing it for a really long time, and he just gets up and he does it, and he just spitballs, and some of his episodes are probably whatever. And it just reminded me to just plug in, start talking, and do it. Because I liked what he said. He's just like, I do stand up and I do my podcast. He goes, so anything else, I don't really get caught up in the mix because I'll always have this, and I built it on my own, and no one can really stop that. He's like, you can't stop me from getting on stage. You can't stop me from uploading me just talking. And he goes, that's how I balance it because, sorry, I'll step through me a little coffee. He's like, I can just say what I want, and then if I also do TV shows and things like that and movies, if I ever said anything on stage that pissed someone off enough, where the production companies and movie theaters would be like, oh, we can't hire you anymore. He's like, that's fine. He's like, I built my own fucking world, and it reminded me of that, and I do that, and as much as not so much recently, a couple years ago, I was kind of on the fence about maybe getting like a full-time job. And this was like 2017 or 18. I was kind of struggling a little bit, and it just reminded me that I'm in this to just build my own world and just do my own life as is, because I have between now and the time it's lights out, and I don't want to sit down in some fucking office somewhere. Currently, I don't want to do that. I want to just have the rest of my life and do my own thing. And with the three things that I do that I always talk about, the animation stuff that I do, that's the thing that pays the bills. And the comic is kind of just creative outlet, and then the podcast I do about punk rock. This was the scene. If you want to go check that out, that late '90s, early 2000s punk scene. That stuff is me just doing it as much as possible. So my point of this is that it reminded me to just get on the fucking mic and just spitball. And this shit I'm talking about isn't saving the world. It's just, it feels really good. I'm staring at my window right now on a Tuesday. It's blue skies, and I'm watching this crane build some new fucking building in Raleigh out of the other four that are in town. And it just like it feels right to do this. And the thing that really caught me off guard is, or made it more, no, it caught me off guard. It just made me remember, is when I'm watching Bill Burr talk. This is fucking sirens going off in the background. As I'm watching him talk, it reminded me of how much I love stand up. I don't think enthralled is the word, but I just get mesmerized by great stand up, and hearing him talk about his process and the time he started and bombing and finding his voice. I just find that that's the world that I give myself time to live in. And when I'm doing the things I don't want to do, it feels like, I didn't even think about this, getting on the elliptical. I did it for the pure reason of I need to get cardio in, but the moment it started, my brain's checking out like, dude, this isn't what your thing is. And I have to push through that. But when I started watching him and listening to his podcast, I mean, the episode's an hour long, and it's so great to me. I don't know. And I wish that, I mean, I always wanted to I did stand up that one time. I did open mic, and I really liked it. And I just know that the world that's in, like, I would love to try it. And I'm not saying I, I'm the funniest, but I think I would really enjoy it because I love the craft, and I would want to do it to become like the best. And I could sit here and say this, and then one day, like, and it doesn't happen, and then I'm like on my deathbed, I'm going, well, that was really cool to think about that, and you never went for it. But I feel if I gave myself, I mean, everyone has nothing to lose, I think. Well, unless maybe you have like a family and something like that, but and then you're kind of a crap parent if you just give up on your family and go to your dream, because you decided to have kids, so that should be your focus. So balanced, it should be balanced. Shouldn't just be all on your kids. I think you need to have your own outlet too. But right now, where I'm at, I have no responsibility, and I mean, I'm just like, man, like, what if I just fucking went for it? Because I think it takes a solid 20 years before you really get noticed if you're old school. And I would love to just, I don't know why I'm calling this episode vacay, because I'm just talking about comedy and fucking CrossFit. But I'll eventually get to it. But just like that timeline right there, where I'm 43, that means that by the time I'd be in my 60s, and maybe if I was good enough, maybe a little bit sooner. But that world is showing up at open mics, doing a 2 minute spot, staying for the rest of the comics, doing late nights, finding the next one, doing it again, and then you slowly go down that path. And if you're good enough, then maybe you get on a bigger bill, and you get like an opening spot, and then you bomb a lot, and you're still trying to figure out how to like tell a good joke. But in that, you're gonna have a really good night, and probably a majority of them will be shit nights. But you're still, I think if you take it from not a I need to do this to get famous, but I want to do this to be the best at this. And I think if you live in that space, that is a better mentality to be, because the fame thing is just a byproduct. But if you're really good and make in metaphorically have the best party, that when people come to it, they're like, holy shit. And I would just want to just be able to just destroy a fucking, it would be so fucking dope just to get up there and just be like, I destroyed this room because I got that fucking good at it. And then no one could take that away from you. So I think that kind of also goes into the whole doing everything for yourself, which is I just have done for the last 17 years. And not saying I didn't get help along the way, but I've chose a path that was, I haven't had wow, I haven't had a paycheck, like a salaried paycheck where healthcare and all that shit was taken out since the last time that happened was 2006. Holy fuck, I didn't even think about that. Every other check I've gotten has just been for hourly time. And then, wow, it's fucking crazy. So, yeah, so I'm just going to segue to the vacation thing because I don't really know how to do it smoothly. But the vacation thing, the reason I want to call it that is I gave myself a little, tried to give myself about 3 days, 4 days, well, 3 days with the fourth day would have been driving day. I went down to Wilmington because I was out on a Sunday and had a few, and I was like, you know what? Let me like get down to the beach. Like, let me fucking give myself, let me get myself out of downtown. So I went to Wilmington and I rented this Airbnb. It's on the river in downtown. And I got there around like 4 o'clock on a Tuesday. And then I went out. And it was a cool little Airbnb. It was on the fifth floor and it had this nice little view and cool spot around all the places I like to go. And then, so I did that. And then Wednesday I woke up, went for a walk, got a coffee. It just felt weird to be on a Wednesday or to be a Wednesday. And I'm just kind of like pretending it's a Saturday and my brain's going, you got to get shit done. Even though I'm kind of on a lull right now with projects because I just finished two big ones. So I'm just waiting on them to clear, the checks to clear. And then I have another one I started. So I can kind of space my weeks out where I can literally have jack shit to do during the week, which is kind of that also a little stressful because you have too much time. It's, it's kind of, what's the word? This kind of goes with the whole vacation thing. It's like too much time for me is stressful because I feel like I need to be doing something. I don't know how to disconnect and just spend a full day just doing jack shit. Like I feel like I need to accomplish something all the time, even if it's something super tiny. So Wednesday morning, I wake up just sitting there on a bench, drinking a coffee, reading a podcast. And the reason, or listening to a podcast, and the reason I was doing this, I went to this bench, is like I'm kind of a creature of habit, which is why pretty much for a vacation, I always go to Wilmington because I had a really good time once, but I know that it's a safe bet to go there because I enjoy it. But I becomes routine and I'm kind of just cycling the same thing I did last time because I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, I'll do that thing I did last time. And then when I'm there, I'm going, I think this is better as a memory. It's still fine, but it's the first time is where it was exciting, and the second time is just, oh, I'm trying to recreate the party here, and sometimes that doesn't really work. So I'm like, Wednesday I go, so I sit on the bench, and it kind of dawns on me that I'm just like recreating something I did, and also I'm like, it's Wednesday, like it feels weird that I'm just dicking around, and so then I go back to the apartment I was renting or Airbnb at, and I take a drive down to the beach. And I've never been to the beach by myself in my entire existence on this planet. I've been with people. I've never gone by myself to a beach and just had a beach day. And I'm not really a beach guy, but I was like, oh, I'm in North Carolina. I should go to a beach. So I drive there, and the whole time I'm like nervous because I'm just like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know how to beach. I don't know how to just I'm just gonna walk out in the sand and just set up. Am I gonna look like a fucking asshole because I'm there by myself and I'm a guy and everyone's gonna think I'm just like staring at them or something? Which I felt the whole time. And it was a little windy, so I'm setting up and I sit there and I'm listening to an audiobook and just cooking in the sun because I'm super pasty white with these crazy farmer's tans from driving in a Jeep with no top. And I think if I was there with someone, it would have been way more enjoyable, and I would have stayed longer. But I was there to like maybe an hour and a half, and I went in the water, and it's just kind of like I already live by myself, and I work for myself. I'm alone all the time unless I go out, and that's why I go out a lot, which I've talked about so many times. And so I'm at the beach. I'm just like I'm alone. I'm surrounded by people, but I'm here by myself. And I went to the water by myself, and I was like, I feel like an idiot. Like it just was not my jam. So I went back, sat down for a little bit, packed in my shit, and then drove back into town. Like stopped at this one brewery that I went to this one time, which is pretty cool. And again, it was just replicating an experience I had prior. I didn't try anything new. Went back into town. I was gonna try this, go to this one bar taco place, but I was like, I'll do it tomorrow. So I went back out in downtown and went around town, and I was gonna do this nice. There's this really cool French restaurant. It's this cup. What is it called? Like Caprice, I think it's called. It's this really nice restaurant in downtown Wilmington, and it's run by this couple, this French couple. I think it's a husband and wife. Someone told me the story, and they came over here decades ago, and it's just he works the kitchen, she works the front of the house, and the food is just fucking phenomenal. So I was like, well, I'll do that Thursday night because that's my last night here. So I'd been there Tuesday night, was when I got there. Wednesday I had a full day, and then Wednesday night I was like, well, I'll do Caprice, but I'll do it tomorrow. So I finish the night, I go to bed, and I wake up and I was like, I don't want to do this day again. I just I was like, I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm already been to the spots I want to go to. And I was like, maybe I'll just leave. So I got up, went and got a coffee, came back. I was like, yeah, I'm fucking over this. And I had dropped like it was like 113 bucks a day to stay at this place. And I was just like, yeah, I'll just burn it. Fuck it. And so I left around like 11 a.m. and I drove back up to Raleigh. And the one thing that dawned on me is that, and I told my bunch of my friends this, is like I left a city and went to another city. So there really wasn't a break. It's like when you go to another city, it's still the same routine. There's no hard, what's the word, like divide or contrast to the life that you lead now. I should have went to like the fucking woods or like up to Asheville or something or Boone and got, I don't know, been more in nature because I think it would have decompressed me a little bit more. So I just, that's been kind of on my mind, just the whole vacation thing. And that's why I think I called it this episode vacay, or I'm gonna call it that, is I'm just, I don't know, I think I am overdoing things by myself. And I've talked about this where I am on this mission to find someone to be with, but the right person and not just fill the space with someone just because. And it just really has been in my face. But then there's this fear of meeting someone and then they're like, let's have kids, and you have a family, and then it's like, oh, I can't be selfish anymore. So it just, I don't know, I'm just gonna live in this weird place until I just make a decision of either, I mean, there's like three things that could happen. One, I could stay single for the rest of my life. Two, I can meet someone and we just decide, and it works out really well. I mean, that's the goal, and then we don't have kids, which I'm fine with. Or three, I meet someone, we get along, we have a great relationship, and then we decide to have kids because we just decide that. So there's like three paths I can take, I believe. And the single one to me kind of makes me nervous because I don't want to be 80 years old and alone. And holidays are really depressing when you're by yourself. I think like the middle one with just meeting someone and maybe not having kids, like that seems kind of great because then I'd be with them. But then maybe missing out on kids seems, there's a part of me that thinks that I would really love it, especially when I'm sitting there at the beach. I'm just like, this isn't really like, this setting to me personally is built for couples or friends or families. So if you're there with your own family and just seeing them have that experience, like there's something in me that knows that I would love that. And I don't really know why I'm not letting myself go on that path. I mean, it's not like I just say like, oh, sure, I'll just have a family and just go out and be like, oh, hi, you look like you could birth children. Let's do this. Because I'm still in this. 18, 19-year-old mentality when I was that age, thinking like I want to be with the love of my life and stuff. And I've never given up on that, which I choose not to. I really like to be with someone. But vacationing by yourself, if you're doing the same routine, I don't want to say you, that's pointing it out at other people. And I think that's what annoys me about Instagram is everyone's like, you need to do this and you should do this. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You should fucking not tell me what the fuck's up. So vacations for me, I forgot my train of thought there. Vacations for me aren't, they're not like my favorite thing. It's why I probably don't leave downtown as much as possible. But there's this weird part of me that wants to um, experience that. And I just have this back and forth. And I'm sure if you've listened to multiple episodes of this, it's kind of this, there's a theme that's consistent. It's another reason why I'm kind of on the fence about doing a podcast episode every week because I feel like I'm just going to regurgitate the same shit. But I also feel like I'm putting it out there to the universe where I'm like, I'm looking for this. And I've noticed lately when I started to do that, it's really coming back at me. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, you should. I'm hopefully. I don't know. I'm going back and forth about putting out this new book. I downloaded all these old images or all these images from Instagram from my comic that I just want to put into a book, but I just keep kind of getting in my own way with it. I'm just like, I'm not really feeling it. So I don't know. I have this other idea for another book. So I don't know. I don't really. I have like limited things on my Your Daily Bread BRED website if you want to go buy some stuff, or you go to Munjo Munjo in downtown Raleigh. I've got my couples checklist book there. I also sell the couples checklist book online, and I have my other podcast. This was the scene. If you want to reminisce about the late 90s, early 2000s, so I interview people. I don't just talk to myself. Like this setting, I interview people. Like I've interviewed bands. Let's see who I've interviewed. Like Chris and Vinny from Less Than Jake, William from Sunny Day Real Estate, Chris Broach from Braid, Rob Hitt from Midtown. I mean, it's 181 episodes up there, and a couple of them were just me. Just like three of them, I think, were just me. Like one's a Q&A, and the other two were just me, like telling what's up. But there's so many interviews. I've got one coming up that's gonna blow people's fucking minds. It was such a catch or such a get. But let's see, other bands. Blue Meanies, Donuts and Glory. God, there's so many. I can't even remember. There's such great ones. Hot Water Music. So if any of those names, just go to This Was the Scene and go to episodes and just scroll. Like there might be something in there for you. And if you like need an animation for your company, explainer video, check out drive80.com, drive80.com. And that's my plugs. So go be great.